Hi, this is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a monoline brush pen in Procreate. To start off with, go ahead and create a new document in Procreate. Ideally, when you're creating a new brush, you want to use a square canvas. In the case of you want to change your brush shape or you want to create a texture for the grain of your brush. In this case, I'm not going to actually create a new shape for this brush, but just keep that in mind when you are creating brushes. Let's go ahead and open up the brush library by hitting the brush icon here. On the left side, you have your brush sets, and then each set has its own set of brushes. If you want to create a new brush set, just go ahead and scroll on this left side, holding it down and then tapping the plus icon. Here you can name your new set. So let's just go new brushes. And then we have our new brush set. Currently there are no brushes in it, so let's go ahead and create our monoline brush. So we'll hit the plus icon here, and this will bring up the brush studio. So by default, we have an example of the brush currently here where it has a change in opacity as it relates to pressure here. So with a monoline brush, we want to get rid of this change in opacity color here. We want it to be solid black throughout and not pressure dependent. So to change that setting, we are going to go over to the Apple Pencil here in the left side, and then under pressure and opacity, currently it's set to max. You want to go ahead and bring that down to none, and as we can see here, it takes away that change in opacity there. You can use the drawing pad here just to test out your brush, just to kind of see how it is. Some of the settings you can change. Under stroke path, since it's a monoline brush, I like to bring my spacing all the way down. That way it's just solid there. And there's not too much difference between what it was before. And then under stabilization, you can change how it behaves. So for example, if we just bring up this streamline, you can see that it changes it as we draw. It's very smooth to it. We'll go ahead and clear that there. We can see the smoothness here. And then if you bring up the stabilization, the more you bring it up, the more of a line, of a straight line it becomes. So you can just play with the amount. I usually like to hover around 20% for both of these here. But definitely play with those settings to kind of get the feel that you want from your brush pen here. As I mentioned before, you can always choose to change the shape of your brush. In this case, we have the default circle shape here, but if you ever want to change your shape, you can go ahead and click on edit here. And then you have the option to import. You can either import from a photo, import from a file, or they even have a source library. So if we select that source library here, there are a bunch of different shapes here. So before we had a circle. So if we tried an oval here, we can kind of see it's a little bit different of a shape there of the brush versus the circle here. But you can always choose to edit that there. So we'll go ahead and bring back our circle. So we have our hard round brush here, and we'll click done there. And then once you have the brush the way you like it, you can always name it. So let's go to the About This Brush section. You can enter the name here, and then we'll just call this Monoline. We'll just give it a 1 here. And then you can enter your name here. So we'll just go by Lemon Paper Lab. And then hit done. And then you can also choose to sign your name. I typically don't do that, but that is an option here as well. And then you do have the option to add a photo. One thing I'm going to note with that is you really have the option only once to add a photo. Once you do, there's really no way to change it. So And I'll show you what I mean here. So let's go ahead and add a photo from photos. So I'll just click this lemon icon here. We can see that. And then if we click out of it, we're back here. We'll go back to our brush library, click on that brush again. What you notice is there's just no way to change that information. So potentially as you are working on your brush, maybe you haven't established your brand identity yet. You're not really sure what photo you want to represent for your brand. Maybe hold off on that step because there is no real way. You can also make a duplicate of this brush before adding the photo in. So you always have one that can be adjusted, copied and adjusted to add a different photo if you need to. But just make a note of that you can't really change that photo after you have added it. And then one more section here is a create a new reset point. So if you are deciding to sell your brushes, share your brushes with others, it's always a good idea to create a reset point. So once you have it set to where you like it, then you can create a reset point. So before I do that, I'm gonna actually draw with it on the canvas here and just kind of see how we like it. And so before I set that reset point, I'm going to decide on my size because it will change to that size as well. So I want it by default to be a little bit smaller versus the thicker. So maybe we'll try it a little bit lower there too. So we'll go up just a little bit. So set your size here. Once you kind of like it there, we'll jump back in here and then just show you create a new reset point. It gives you this disclaimer. Are you sure you want to create a new reset point? This cannot be undone. We'll go ahead and save it here. And then we can see we have a reset point. So in this case, if someone is using your brush, you're using your brush, and maybe you start to play with some of the things. So maybe I want to play with some of the color here. So we'll just set that there. We'll go ahead and erase this by waving our 3 fingers there. And then you just kind of, let's change our color. You just kind of play with the color and you're like, oh no, I want to get it back to what that original brush was. So we'll just jump back in there. You can go back to this about this brush. Go ahead and click on the reset brush. Click reset. And then as we can see, if we just check under color dynamics, everything is back to its default. If we draw again, it will just be the one color like we had before. And then finally, if you want to share your brush with others, you'll just slide it to the left and just click on share. And then you can decide where you want to save it to. I like to click on save to files and then just save it on a folder here. We'll go ahead and cancel that there. And then you have also the option to, if you have multiple brushes here, you can also save your brush set. You just kind of hold down here and then do the same process to click on share to save that as well. Thank you for watching this video on how to create a monoline brush pen in Procreate. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. This is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. See you next time.